Hey, I'm Noelle.
And I'm Marissa, but Noelle calls me Pete.
I do.
And welcome back to
Take It Home.
Ha, 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 ha. You'll notice there's something behind us.
What is it?
I'm
a Christmas tree.
Wow.
And you know why? Because it is December.
It is December, y'all.
Well, technically, when we're filming this, it's November, but you all, the listeners, will not be hearing this until December.
True. So we put up the tree just for you.
We put it up early for y'all, so you better be thankful.
Yes, we have a lot of pretty ornaments on here.
Do you like how I put the Take It Home stickers around the tree?
And we do have Take It Home stickers in our tree.
Yep.
So our logo is behind us too.
Shout out to our designer, Matt Wagner.
Yes.
Amazing. Okay, so happy holidays, everyone. Yeah. We've got a new soap for you.
We do. We got a new sip of the week.
Yes. What is it?
So it's a cacao latte. If you don't know what that is, it's basically like a healthier hot chocolate. Not that I need to drink a healthy hot chocolate, but I just had cacao powder and I was like, what can we drink that's cozy and warm and isn't alcoholic? Because we didn't want to drink tonight. And I made one of these the other night just for fun and it was really good. So I suggested we do it again. It's just cacao powder and I literally whisked it up in my matcha bowl, like as if I were making a matcha. Added a little cinnamon and maple syrup. Then I steamed some milk and just made a little cacao latte. And it's basically like chocolate milk or like hot chocolate.
Here's my question. What is the difference between cocoa powder and cacao powder?
I actually don't know. I know cacao has a lot of health benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Antioxidants, magnesium.
I'm Googling this
Google
right
it,
now.
Actually, because I want to know. Is there a difference?
The main difference is that cacao is from unroasted raw beans, while cocoa is made from roasted beans.
Interesting.
Oh, so because cacao is minimally processed, it retains more nutrients like antioxidants and has a more intense earthy flavor.
It's a superfood, I think.
So they're pretty much the same thing, just cooked differently. Or I guess one is cooked and the other isn't.
One is roasted, one isn't. So cacao is the unroasted version of the cocoa bean. So it still has that chocolatey flavor, but it maintains all its nutrients. And I know it has a lot of good things and health benefits and apparently magnesium, which is really, really great for sleep. And
we're going to be sleepy.
So should we try it?
Wait, yes.
We do have our matching mugs again.
Of course.
A little nervous. I hope it's good. Okay, yeah, that's really good.
Wait.
It's not hot enough. I'm like, I need to warm mine up already. But yeah, it tastes like hot chocolate.
It's yummalicious.
And it's healthy. Imagine that.
We're getting antioxidants today, folks.
This is really good. I'm going to put mine in the microwave, though, because do you want yours in the microwave?
Sure. And just like magic, our drinks are now warm.
Editing magic. So, smile of the week. Should we?
Smile of the week, smile of the week. Smile of the week, smile of the week.
If you are new here, we start off our episodes by each sharing something that's made us smile throughout the week. So,
also, if you're new here, welcome.
Welcome.
We're so happy to have you in our home. I'll go first because I volunteer.
Go first.
As tribute. Okay. My smile is kind of a bigger one. And it's that, I did take a trip last week. I went to Mexico City, which was awesome. It was my first time in Mexico. But I think more specifically, my smile from that trip was the food. One, the street food was so amazing. They just had taco stands everywhere. And a lot of the tacos we got would be like literally $1.50, and they would make the tortilla in front of you. So
Wow.
like they have, a lot of them have like just these piles or big bowls of dough, and then you order a taco and then they roll it up and put it on the thing and literally make the tortilla and then put the meat and everything in it. And they were just so delicious, also so simple. Like if you ordered, we would order like a steak taco and it would literally just be like steak and a tortilla, sometimes cilantro
Really?
and onion. Yeah.
So it's just the meat mostly?
Yeah. Also, tomatoes in the tacos are not a thing at all. That is
An
very
American thing.
Yeah.
What about cheese?
Not really, unless you ask for it. Like they don't even put cheese on quesadillas unless you ask for it.
Whoa.
Isn't that weird?
So it's just like meat and tortilla.
Yeah. Unless you
Wow.
asked for more. But it was all so good and so flavorful. So yeah, I was eating good last week. Also, the pastries there were really good too.
They
And
looked good.
I did a food tour as well. I took one because, as some of you may or may not know, I am a food tour guide in New York City. It's one of my jobby poos. And so I was lucky enough to take one as a guest. And it was a major slay.
Yay.
Yay, tacos.
So exciting.
What is your smile, my sweet Pete?
Yes. My smile is I had a really good week overall, I would say, but I just felt a reignited fire when it comes to career stuff. If you listened to a couple episodes ago, I was feeling a little like going through a quarter life crisis, you know, kind of feeling like just not great about career stuff and my life in general and just feeling stuck. And I just felt reignited. I went to 2 auditions in person. I was fortunate to receive some callbacks that I got to film self-tapes for. And
Yay!
I think that something that was really exciting though was like I felt very inclined to like do deep dive like scene analysis.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, I forgot how much I love doing this. Like I don't know, I struggle a little bit when it comes to acting with like being brainy and heady and like breaking down the scene and analyzing it so much and then carrying that into like, I'm like, I don't like to be heady when I'm acting. Like I like to live in the moment. But like, I remembered that the whole idea is to like do all of the work and the heady stuff so that it just like lives in you by the time that you do the scene or whatever. So like I just like did scene analysis and I had a good time doing it. And
It's
like
fulfilling.
it was very fulfilling. And you know, especially when it comes to acting, I feel like I've been missing that passion for it, I guess. And you know, it's hard as an actor when you aren't really doing the thing. Like every acting situation I've been in, I feel like in the past few years have been auditions. And auditions are awkward. Like auditions aren't the real thing. Yes, it's a version of acting, but it's different than when you are like in it and you have a scene partner and whatever. It's like there's a different method to it almost.
Yeah.
And I've been having trouble finding the joy in auditioning and that version of acting, but like I think I found it this week and I had a lot of fun like filming my auditions and felt like an actor that knew what she was doing.
That's a very good feeling.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
yay.
that's my
Artistically
smile.
fulfilled.
Yes.
We love that, especially after our last couple episodes, I feel like.
Yeah. And it just goes to show you like waves, ups and downs, everything ebbs and flows, mental health, all that stuff.
Not me. I'm like always feeling good and awesome.
Well, good for you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Anyway,
Wait.
what are we talking about today?
Today, we're talking about friendship.
Friendship.
But more specifically, friendships changing and evolving, especially in your 20s.
Yeah, adult friendships.
Yes.
And I guess specifically in your 20s, because that's what we can speak to. But you know, how that changes, there's like a big shift, you know, when you go from being in a maybe a school setting or, you know, something like that to being when you're a kid or like a younger adult and then really transitioning into real life and how that affects your relationships and more specifically your friendships.
It's weird to navigate for sure.
It really is.
I think especially your 20s are such a weird time. I know we've touched on this in past sods, but I feel like everybody's kind of at a different stage of life. Like there are some people who are literally getting married and having kids.
So I've heard.
So yes, there are some people literally getting married and having kids. And then there are people who are single and struggling to pay bills. And there are people who are somewhere in between. And there are people going back to school.
Just, yeah.
Everyone is at a completely different point. And I mean, I guess that can be like that in any stage of your life. Like people, well, actually, I take that back. I feel like at least when you're at a certain age, like when you're in middle school, high school, college, everybody around you is going through the same things. You're all, have a goal to get your degree or whatever, graduate. You're in the same classes and stuff. But once you're in your 20s, it's kind of a free for all.
It is. And it's like the first time you're experiencing that. And like everyone's figuring out their lives. And like you said, moving at different paces. And like 20s are just so weird. No one's settled. And some people are getting settled. And yeah, it's just everyone's finding their footing. And
it's made friendships more difficult.
100%.
I feel like. And which for me, I feel like I've always really valued friendship. It's very important to me. And I feel like in adulthood, I don't know if I was just spreading myself too thin for a little bit, but I was starting to get really overwhelmed in a lot of my friendships and feeling like, the people pleaser side of me wants to make time for everyone. But as someone who is lucky enough to have a lot of lovely people in my life, it made it really hard. And I think I started spreading myself so thin that it didn't allow me to give people ample time. Like I was trying to please so many people that in the end I wasn't pleasing anyone. And that's hard. But I feel like there are lots of different challenges around it.
Yeah. I think like there's like time, energy, distance, and then just like growing apart. Like, because not only are you on a growth journey in your life and everyone's growing and moving at different rates and like hitting different milestones or making different choices that lead them down different paths, but then like there's also your personal growth and your inner growth and like emotional growth, and like sometimes that moves at different rates too. And I think that there's just so many elements that can affect it. I think obviously distance is one, but then it's like even with people, like even seeing your friends in New York, we all live in the same city, even that is hard. And so if you're not in the same city or even the same state, that becomes even harder. And it's one of those things where you just really have to factor in time. Like you have to schedule it into your week.
Yeah.
We were talking about how we're like, we don't feel as like spontaneous when it comes to things anymore. And then we were like, why is that? And I think we were just both like energy and like,
life just feels draining. Like even my sister the other day, who is my bestie, and she lives a 20-minute walk away from me, which obviously in New York City is pretty close. She was like, I haven't seen you in over a month. And I was like, oh, that's crazy.
And time will just fly so fast to the point where you won't even realize how long it's been,
Yeah. And even people who live closer, well, we were talking about this yesterday too. I was like, is this a New York City thing too? Like, it's just harder and more annoying to
transportation.
Yeah. Like if someone's like, come over and it's only like 15 minutes away. Like if I were in a suburban area and I had to drive 15 minutes, that would be one thing. But in New York City, it's like, what if I just want to be in my pajamas and literally drive over to someone and come hang out? You can't do that in New York. You got to gather your shit, go on the subway where people could be screaming at
and it's not even safe all the time to be going to and from places at night a lot. And that's something that plays into it. Okay, if I go to hang out with my friend after work and I stay till 10 p.m., then I have to get home by myself. And like, am I taking the train? Am I going to risk that? Am I going to walk? Am I going to take an Uber? And then that's like a cost, So yeah, there are just a lot of things. I think that that's a layer that we have in New York City that maybe adds to it a bit. But
I wish that I lived in an apartment building with like all of my friends. Like, how awesome would that be if we all just lived in the same, or even just on the same block? It would be so much easier to hang out. Yeah, I guess that would be
college was literally like that.
But yeah, you and I have definitely had a lot of friendship stuff change for us in our 20s.
Yeah.
At least you and I's relationship, we've stayed pretty solid.
We have.
But I feel like we're lucky we're always kind of on the same wavelength, and hopefully it's like that forever and ever and ever.
We also live together, so we don't always have to factor in time
to
hang out. It just happens, you know?
That is true.
So Noelle and I have been on, you know, a friendship journey of our own, but also just like with other friends of ours that we've watched each other's relationships evolve and change. And like we've both grown apart from people that we were once very, very close with, like people that we considered our inner circle, you know,
like best friends.
And that changed. And I don't know if I ever thought it would. Yeah, I think life surprises you in that way of just like, I think just with these particular friends, it was just a kind of growing in different directions, growing at different paces type of thing. And without getting into too much detail, bottom line for me is like, I just realized I would leave a lot of our hangouts feeling drained and just like not filled up in the way that I wanted to feel with my friendships. And I was like, this isn't normal. Like, I don't think I should be feeling this way. Is it a me thing? Is it just, you know, maybe it's no one's fault. It's just like the relationship and the way that life goes. Like, no one has to be at blame for that. Yeah, we kind of had to create distance between people. And it's really hard. And it actually took it was like a process of 2 years of like kind of like navigating it.
It would leave, we both felt the same, like leave hanging out with certain people feeling drained, also like worse about ourselves. Like I know it would make me feel like insecure in some ways, bad about myself, like feeling like I'm being put into a box, just a lot of negative energy. But that's also hard because, you know, you're friends with people for a reason too. Like there's so much love there, but at the end of the day, if like you're pouring your energy into relationships that don't make you feel good, that's really not great for your mental health.
Yeah, I think it's so important to realize when you're done hanging out with someone, how you feel. How is your energy and how do you feel about yourself?
Yeah, all good things.
Yeah, I would leave like feeling not like myself. Like, I don't know, it was just kind of weird. And like I said, it's no one's fault. It's just like that happens sometimes, even with people that you thought would be close with you forever. And I'll just say, like, if you have a friend that you grew apart from, because I have many friends that I grew, you know, and it's so natural, but like, you don't have to feel bad about that because it really is just a part of life. Like we said, so many factors go into it. Distance,
I think
time, energy.
Also, it's interesting navigating like fights, arguments, falling outs with people, or I guess maybe not falling outs, but whether or not an argument turns from an argument into you mending it and getting closer versus an argument that goes into a falling out.
Yeah.
I think I went through a phase with multiple friends actually last year where I was kind of like, is this a me problem? Is this a play about us? That's from Euphoria. But I was like, you know, having not big fights, but just tiffs, like with different people. And some of them, like, really one that I can think of led to a complete falling out. And then all of the other ones led to feeling closer. I remember I was getting dinner with one of my best friends in the world, and we've been friends since we were little. And we kind of got into an argument, which hasn't really happened in our friendship. But, you know, when you're friends with someone since you're 4 years old, it's bound to happen. And we just got into this argument at dinner, and it was like, whoa. And it got pretty heated, and she had to step outside. But then we ended up, she came back in and was telling me how she felt and how what I confronted her was making her feel. And we just kind of started talking to each other about where we were coming from, and it helped us to understand each other better. And there wasn't any gaslighting or victim blaming. It was just very like
Good communication.
yeah, it just felt like very good communication. Like she explained that she had been overwhelmed with life and apologized. And actually, the same thing happened with me and a friend a few weeks ago. I think I actually mentioned it on the pod, but I've low-key been kind of slacking, or not anymore, but for a couple of months I was slacking just because I was so busy and overwhelmed with life. And I just had this one friend that I really let down, and she sent me this long text, and she was like, I really value our friendship a lot, and I feel like you haven't been acting like you have recently. You really hurt my feelings with this one thing you forgot to do, and you just haven't been texting me back, blah, blah, blah. And it was just such a wake-up call for me. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm spreading myself too thin, but it's making me into a bad friend. And even though it's not personal, it's coming off personal. So I apologized and fixed it, and we mended that. But the point is, it's interesting navigating different arguments with different people, because sometimes it brings you closer. Like, for the time I got dinner with my friend and we got in a fight, I really felt like after it, we were both crying. It was drama, but in a good way. And we were both like, I love you so much. Like, I'm here for you. And I understand where you're coming from, but still try to do better, both of us. And then other friends where you confront them and you're like, hey, this thing you did hurt my feelings. And they're like, then they like can't apologize for it or somehow turn the story back around on you. And I just think the way if you care about your friendships, you really have to listen and work on things. Not every relationship is going to be perfect.
Yeah, something I like to really live by when it comes to relationships is like conflict is inevitable. You're always going to, have things happen that need to be addressed, but like the way that people respond to conflict is so telling of the relationship. And I would say if you're someone, it's like you have had a friend approach you about a conflict or something you've done that's hurt them, like know that person is bringing that up because they care about you and the relationship and they want to fix it. And, because the alternative is to like not say anything at all. And I've had situations where I've been like, this really bothers me or this really hurt me, but like, is it worth even bringing up? And that's like the worst thing, because it's like, is it even worth it? How much do I value this relationship? Like, is it easier for me to just like take note and move forward with my life and like act accordingly? Or do I really want to hear this person out and give them a chance to understand where they're coming from and like talk about it? And I think like on the surface, if you get confronted by a friend and they're trying to talk something out with you, seems like a bad thing. But like, if you think of it like they're just trying to, like, they care about you and the relationship and they're trying to fix something, because you can't move forward with all of that.
I think that's very telling when you're dealing with something and you're like, it's not even worth it.
Yeah. And I felt like that in certain situations. So
I know that you've struggled in the past with friendships and people talking about themselves and feeling like, maybe you're a friend to them and you're always listening to them, but people aren't asking like, hey, Pete, how are you doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a big thing too. Like,
shall I say, you can cut this out. I know you were hanging out with a group of people. I'm just like, this was crazy to me when you texted me and you were like, hey, I was just hanging out with these people. And we were like, let's all go around and say one nice thing about each other. And everyone said a nice thing about someone else, except no one said anything about you.
Yeah.
A group of like 6 people. And one person had 2 separate things said about them.
Yeah.
And you said something nice about someone, but you were literally forgotten.
Yeah. I just think like, and it was a small group. And that was like one of the final straws for me. I was just like, well,
it feels so... That feels so small,
right?
But it's not.
It's not when it's like layered on a bunch of other things and like me just feeling like I wasn't given space to be appreciated for who I like truly am.
I was so upset when you texted me that. I was like, they went around in a circle and said one nice thing about everyone except for you. You were just skipped over.
And it wasn't like intentional. It's just like, it's whether it's intentional or it's like just going over everyone's heads, it's both bad. And I feel like I'm such an empath and like aware of other people and their energies and making sure everyone feels included. And like,
it's exhausting.
I'm not saying I'm perfect, but like, I just am aware of those things. And I think that if people can't meet me at that level, it doesn't really work out. Because also, sure, I'm like more introverted. But it's also like I'm a good listener and I like to hear other people. Like I'm very open. I will tell you about my life if you're my best friend, but you need to actually have genuine interest in it. Otherwise, I'm not going to just force it, you know? And I felt like I was like forcing it.
Also, we kind of going back to what we were saying a couple minutes ago about like sometimes people do things and you're just like, it's not even worth it to tell them. But also some things, I get that communication is very important and it's good to communicate how you're feeling for the most part, but sometimes you don't want to have to communicate certain things. Like people, like I feel like you shouldn't have to be like, especially when it's an accumulation.
A pattern.
You don't want to be like, hey, you all gave each other a compliment, except no one complimented me.
Yeah.
Will someone say something nice about me? Like that's
right.
so...
That's just one of those situations where you're like, okay, noted.
Or like, hey, do you mind not checking your phone every single time I start talking about myself? Like little things like that. Even though I did have to confront someone the other day about that, but I will say that was just a one-time thing and he doesn't normally do that. But when it becomes a habit, it's like when you just start feeling all the time like, I really feel like this person isn't listening to me.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
I don't know. Like I was just reaching, you know, for like connection, and I really don't like feeling that way. I mean, like who likes feeling that way? But I just have learned as I've gotten older, you can't force connection. You can't change people, like, you know, if they care about your day, you know, like, and if that's not there, like, sometimes you just have to accept that.
Yeah.
And it really sucks when you actually genuinely do love people as well. Because that was like one of the hardest things too. It's like, it's weird that I love you so deeply, but like...
And... like no friendship is supposed to be perfect. Like I've mentioned before that I've had ups and downs with other friends too, where like I'll go through a phase where I'm like, this person has really been pissing me off recently. But I guess, yeah, there's a difference between someone having flaws and imperfections. You know, as a friend, I am not a perfect friend by any means. I've been called out recently. It's still important for your friends to have a level of empathy and asking you questions about yourself, making you feel loved, making you feel heard. And if you're leaving a friend constantly feeling not great, then that's a sign. And sometimes you just have to put yourself first or set boundaries, even if it's not ending a friendship with someone, just like having boundaries and being like, okay, I'm only going to hang out with this person a certain amount of time. And like, okay, I'm about to see this person. I know they're not going to ask me a question about myself. So I'm just going to be prepared to listen to them for the next hour because I want to keep them in my life. So I'm just going to do that. And then I'll hang out with them again in 2 months.
Yeah. It's like you just kind of have to accept or decide what things you're willing to accept and then accept them and just know for yourself like what you're getting yourself into and like preparing yourself for that.
It all just does take so much more effort too when you're older. We mentioned this earlier in the podcast, but back when you're in school, you're surrounded by people all the time, especially in college. You're all literally living within like at least 5-minute drive of each other. You know, chances are you're probably living in the same building. And so it's just very, very easy to hang out with people all the time. And when you get older, one, it feels harder because you literally have to, for the most part, travel to go see people. But also life gets busy. It's different. You're not I think another reason why you're able to bond in school too is because you're focusing on the same thing. So even if, for example, you have homework to do, chances are you're hanging out with people who have the same homework.
You have things to like bond over.
Yeah.
Trauma bond over.
But like when we're adults living our lives, you know, we all have kind of different focuses for the most part, and it just makes it more difficult. Also, like, are we just more tired?
Yeah.
I
So
feel like
this was something we were talking about yesterday too. Just like, I feel like my energy is drained so much easier. Maybe that's just something that happens as you get older, or maybe it's just the phase of life that I'm in right now. And it's like my priorities are just in not so many different places, but like in very specific places that take a lot of energy, like my jobs and like my creative projects and my routines and like taking care of my body, and then my relationships that mean a lot to me, the ones that I want to put time into and whatever. And it's like all of those things, it's just a lot. It's a lot to keep track of. And then you also have to have like time alone time for yourself to recharge. And it's like, it feels like there's not enough time in the day. And like, I've realized how important it is for me, like, because we were talking about going out. So this is another thing that kind of plays into friendship and hanging out and spending time with people. I think that like, I'm just now realizing how much of time spent with my friends used to be going out on a Friday night and like
getting drunk.
That was an easy excuse to like hang out and see people. But like, when you stop doing that, or like doing that as often, it becomes harder to schedule different ways of hanging out into your day. And like, for me, going out has just been something that, I mean, we talked about this a little bit already, but like, it's just something that I don't like to spend as much time doing anymore. Like, I've realized how important it is for me to like get good sleep and, you know, not drink a lot and be able to wake up and do my routine and move my body. And like, I don't know, just like, I just feel like any little thing can set me so far behind these days. Like I can't push through as much as I could when I was younger.
Also, going out isn't real quality time normally.
Yeah,
I mean,
very
maybe
true.
there are like moments when, I don't know, if you're getting into a deep conversation with someone at a table in the corner, but not really. Like normally you're just going out, like getting drunk and dancing. And hey, don't get me wrong, that's fun sometimes. But I feel like in order to have a friendship with someone, if that's part of your relationship, there needs to be more to it too. I mean, I feel like I used to feel like there are some friends for like deep connection and partying, but then there are some friends that are just like fun to party with. I don't really feel that way anymore. I mean, maybe, but I feel like I like to surround myself with people who I can have both with. Slash, I don't really go out that much anymore. But yeah, I feel like that's a big thing that changes too. Like a lot of people, like what people are doing on the weekends, you know? Plus, you and I also work on the weekends a lot, so that makes it weird.
Just, yeah, I think
scheduling.
Not doing that anymore, you realize how often you don't see people unless you really make an effort to like schedule it into your day. And yeah, like going out isn't quality time. You're always screaming over the music. It's very hard to have a conversation in a bar. Things start changing in your mid to late 20s. And I think that's totally normal. Everyone says it is, but it is weird. Like when you go through it and you're like, wow, like this person isn't really in my life anymore.
It's weird.
Yeah, it is.
Also, becoming an adult, people move too.
Like, yeah, everyone's in a different place.
Yeah, like across the country, in different countries sometimes. People are just all over the place. And if you want to keep a relationship with someone who lives far away, you really have to put that effort in. And sometimes it's nice to have the kind of relationship where like maybe you talk once a month and catch up, but you don't feel pressure to talk all the time. Actually, Kendall has been my friend since I was born. I've mentioned her on the podcast before. blah, blah, blah. But I feel like we are both so busy. She's been having 10-hour work days recently, and she's been traveling like every single weekend. So one thing we've been doing to keep in touch is sending each other voice memo updates instead of a phone call, because sometimes we can't even talk on the phone at the time. But like she'll send me like a friend podcast, essentially like a 5-minute voice update, and I just listen to it when I can and respond to it when I can.
I love voice memos.
Me,
'Cause
honestly, same.
It's like a phone call, but like you can respond at your own pace, your own time. It's so
literally.
convenient.
It is. And sometimes that's what you have to do.
I know.
Like, and sometimes you don't have energy to talk on the phone either.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh, I'm tired at the end of the day, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have energy to be like, tell me everything about your life and then tell someone else everything about my life. And it's just like, being an adult is hard.
It is. There's just so many things we're juggling, and friendships, it's interesting. They're constantly evolving.
They are. Thank God we live together.
Yeah.
We're very lucky.
We
like,
are.
I get to see one of my best friends every day.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Also, like, living in a big city, it just can feel so lonely sometimes, even when you're surrounded by millions of people. Life in your 20s can get very lonely because of the fact that everyone's on a different path. Like, no one's fully, completely in your shoes, like in what you're specifically going through. Whereas, like we said, when you're in school, like everyone's kind of in each other's shoes. Like you're kind of going through the same thing. You have things to relate to one another, like the exact same things that you're going through. And just when you aren't, in that setting anymore, it can feel lonely. It's like, damn, I'm the only, maybe you're not like the only person going through, I don't know, financial struggles or like career struggles, but it's like your specific situation is yours. And like that can feel isolating sometimes.
It definitely can.
Oh,
friendship is hard, which is weird. That was something I never really felt until the past couple of years.
Yeah.
It's gotten harder. And also when, we've been saying so much that life is just exhausting, and sometimes keeping up with friendships is more difficult. And that's why I feel like as you get older, that's why it's more, or that's a reason why it's more important to be selective with who you spend your time and energy with. Because if I don't have that much energy, and like I barely have time for the people who make me feel good inside, like I literally, like I can't spend energy on people who make me feel like shit. That's such a like waste of energy, low-key.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah, like I don't even have time for the people I love. So why
your
on
energy
earth would I make that's a big thing that I started realizing too. I was thinking of a couple of friends that I have in New York City who I love dearly and who make me feel amazing when we hang out. And I leave feeling like, wow, my heart is full and this person loves me and lifts me up so much. Yeah, maybe one of them lives a further commute away, but honestly, it would be much better for my soul to commute further and give this person my time and energy, not even in a selfish, like, because they make me feel good way, but just because this person is an amazing person. And like, I should probably be pouring my energy into someone who pours it back into me instead of just draining it.
Well, yeah. So one, it's like your energy is already so easily drained. Your energy is precious. You can only put it in so many places. And then if you're also hanging out with people that are draining your energy and not giving you energy, then that's like even worse, So yeah, I guess it's just important to like really check in with yourself. I think that with friendships and any relationships, honestly, we can get so just like stuck going through the motions of it because it's like the sunken cost fallacy. It's like, well, we've been friends for this long. We might as well keep staying friends. Like, this is just the way it is. Yeah, just evaluate it because it doesn't have to be the way it is. Like, if it's not a good situation, it's good to just like check in with how you feel after you hang out with people.
Definitely.
And it's okay.
Definitely.
It's okay to set boundaries and it's okay to grow apart from people. Even if you're not sure, I think that like navigating that can be tricky because sometimes you don't really know, because nothing is black and white. It's very much a nuanced thing with when you're navigating a whole person who's like a dynamic human in a relationship. That's also very dynamic. Like it can be confusing to like figure out how you feel, but
can be.
taking the time, like it's a process. And even if you like nothing's permanent, also like maybe you need like temporary space from someone to kind of step away and realize how you feel. And like you can always come back, and
that's
friendship.
I guess to end the podcast on a more positive note, we're going to share some things we do in our current friendships that we feel good about to help keep the friendships alive and well and feeling good. I guess you and I's friendship doesn't necessarily count because we live together.
True.
I mean, maybe it does.
But then again, we were talking about the other day how it's still important to factor in quality time, even when you live with someone,
That's true.
So I feel like there are still ways that we're not just roommates. I think the way we go about our friendship, like there's something to be said about it. Like we do, try to have quality time. I think quality time, number one, you guys, like making plans and that are intentional.
Yeah.
Even like over the weekend, we had a Friendsgiving that was just so cute. And like we literally just got together for a few hours and ate food, and like everyone brought something and caught up, and then we left and we were in bed, early. Like it was just like very wholesome things like that, like planning little things when you can here and there.
Also, like we said before, the voice memoing. I feel like that is a really good way to keep in touch with people who live long distance. I mean, I guess this is more if you're really busy in your life and you're friends with people who are busy, which like aren't we all busy? I think that's a great way just to keep in touch as well and stay updated. Also, sometimes it's good to just send a text message like, hey, sorry life has been so busy, but love you and thinking about you.
Yeah.
Just, it doesn't have to be some big extravagant thing, but just letting the people in your life that you care about and want to remain in your life, letting them somehow know that you care, and planning something, even if it's far in advance, just to have something on the books. I know it's so difficult nowadays. Like I feel like I've been seeing stuff about how like people are like Gen Z is too selfish. What happened to people showing up for each other? And I see both ends of that. I honestly agree with that to an extent. I think that sometimes people are like, like if it's my friend's birthday, I'm not going to be like, I had a stressful day at work, so I'm not coming to your birthday dinner because I need to focus on myself. Unless like my day was actually so terrible that like I feel like it's an emergency. Like, you know what I mean? But sometimes I do think you have to make sacrifices for friendships. But then I see the other end of it too, where it's like, if you're a people pleaser and you want to get out of that habit, saying no to things sometimes is also good. Like if your friends want to go out or something and you feel like you've been running on empty, sometimes it is good to be like, nope, sorry. But I think the way to make it right is to be like, I cannot come out this weekend, but do you want to plan a date to get lunch or coffee next week?
Yeah.
I think it's good if you cancel plans to try to plan something else.
I agree.
But I do think I agree that sometimes you do have to make sacrifices for the people you want in your life sometimes too. Because you'd want people to make those sacrifices for you as well.
Yeah. There's a balance, I do think it's important to show up for like people's big moments when you can.
I feel like especially as artists too, like going to people's show. Like, I'm not gonna lie, there are times when I have friends' shows coming up and the day of, I'm like, I am so freaking tired, I want to go home. And you know what? I'm sure pretty much all of my friends have felt that way with all of the shows I produce and Night of New Works and stuff. Like, not even in like feel bad for me because my friends don't want to go. Like, I mean, I'm sure people want to show up, but Sometimes my last performance started at 9:30 p.m.
Yeah.
That's late. And I know if I were on the other end of that, I wouldn't really feel like going either. But sometimes you make those sacrifices. You show up late. You travel 45 minutes on the subway. You go. You also used to have concerts that would start pretty late sometimes too.
Yeah, sometimes. I once had one that was at 11.
Yeah.
You were there.
I was. And you know what? I probably was tired.
Yeah.
But I want to be there. Like, you want to be there for your friends, even if in the moment you're tired and you're like, oh, I have to wake up early for work tomorrow. Sometimes you do just need to show up for those things.
I think that like what you put out there comes back around too.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to think about that. You know, it's okay if you can't go to every single thing, but like when you have your thing, you're going to want people to show up for you.
Exactly.
And, you know, you don't want to show up for people. You don't want that to be the reason why you show up for people, but it's just like, it's community. Like that's how you build it and you maintain it, you know?
And you know what? Normally when you end up going to those things, like you don't regret it. Like,
yeah.
There have been shows that I have not felt like going to, but then I go and then I'm like, I'm glad I went because I just, even though it was late and I got home late, what would I have done at home? I would have sat on the couch and watched TV, but instead I got to go see live art and I got to run into a couple of people that I know that I wouldn't have seen if not, or made other random connections, or, you know, there's always a plus side to going to things.
Yeah.
Even if it's on a school night. And
School
it's late.
night.
Yeah, I think it's important to show up for your friends.
Yeah.
You know, of course, there are times when you have to take care of yourself, but there are also times when you have to make sacrifices.
Mm-hmm. Relationships and friendships are a give and take.
They are.
So, you know, you can't feel like you're giving too much or taking too much. Like it has to be a balance on both ends.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and different people have different expectations for their friendships too. So like
that's true.
That's something interesting to understand and like navigate as well.
Mm-hmm.
Some people expect more than others, and that's just a matter of like knowing your friends and that, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Love languages, like knowing in what ways your friends feel cared for, and you know,
and also accepting people for the way they are sometimes.
mm-hmm.
You know, like I'm not perfect. No one is perfect. Unless it's actually harming you or making you feel bad constantly. Sometimes it's just like, you know what? This friend really sucks at answering phone calls, or this friend is like has this one annoying habit, or like, you know, sometimes you just have to, if it's someone that you genuinely love a lot and care to keep in your life, sometimes you just have to accept people for the way they are. I remember my dad said that because my dad is so type A and my mom is so type B, and my mom is not very punctual. Love you, Mom. Sorry. But I remember my dad said when he first started dating my mom, he just was like, I am just going to accept now that we're going to be late to things sometimes. And my dad is super punctual and it stresses him out to be late, but he just accepted it. And he was like, I told myself when we first got together that I wasn't going to let this bother me. And because if I let it bother me, then I would be so mad all the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes you also just have to do that.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's more harmful to yourself to not accept or like want to change someone for who they are. And some things are behaviors that can be worked on, and some things are just like an innate part of who someone is and just how they are. And I heard someone say once, like, there's an idea of like everyone has a fatal flaw, and you have to decide whether or not you can accept that flaw, or not. You know, and no one is perfect, and people have differences, and will butt heads or clash in some way. But like sometimes if it's not harming you, sometimes you just have to accept it. And if it is harming you, then it's a conversation that needs to be had. And I think based on how that person responds to that is telling of if the relationship will make it.
I remember I had to do this exercise with the artist's way once where it was like you draw a circle and then inside of the circle write names of friends who you feel uplift you and make you feel good. And on the outside of the circle, it was like this exercise might be hard because you might come to terms with things you don't want to come to terms with, but it's like write down names of people who are in your life who don't always make you feel good when you hang out. And so like I remember doing that exercise and being like, whoa, that's some of the names I wrote on the outside of the circle. I'm like, yikes, that's like one of my really good friends and they actually talk shit about me and like don't make me feel very good. And then after you do that exercise, I remember the artist way asked you why are these people still in your life? And like you had to answer that. It just highly recommend the artist way if you can do it.
It's such a simple exercise, but like so telling. When you really have to like admit something out loud or like onto a piece of paper in writing.
That's hard because that's when it becomes real. Like sometimes we have, I think us with your old friend group, like it took us a while to really come to terms with like, okay, I think that these relationships aren't really healthy.
Sometimes you're in denial or like also just confused. Like, I guess for me also, I don't know, because I've always had good, fulfilling relationships that made me feel good, but it's hard to tell sometimes. Like, is this normal? A normal dynamic? Is it not? Especially maybe if you haven't had healthy relationships dynamics in your life, how do you know? Maybe that's all you've known and that's what you think is normal. But I guess like the telltale.
Wait, what is it?
How do you say it?
The telltale
sign.
I'm Googling it. Wait, telltale.
The tall tale? No, it's not tall.
No, that's like a lie, I think. Telltale.
The telltale sign.
Telltale sign. Wait, yeah. Telltale. And it's a one word?
No
Telltale?
way.
Wait, maybe not. Telltale sign. Wait, I think it is one word.
Well,
or it has a dash.
And what's the definition?
Okay. A clear and obvious indication of something that has happened or exists.
Telltale. Okay. The telltale sign is how you feel. You really have to tune into how you feel. Even if you've never had a healthy relationship dynamic, you are going to feel bad if you're hanging out with, if you're in a toxic or unhealthy situation. So I think just really tuning into how you feel when you leave that person's house or vice versa, like that is going to tell you all you need to know.
And I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, should we do the take home?
Yes.
This felt like a short sode, but it wasn't. I guess it was sort of normal length, but
jewelry normal.
Anyway, the take home.
The take home is that friendships change and evolve, and that's normal. It can feel hard sometimes and stuff, but it's normal, and sometimes you have to accept it. And another take home, sometimes you have to work on friendships, and that means communicating your feelings, even though that's sometimes really hard to do. But honestly, anytime I've communicated with people or someone has communicated to me, it's made our friendship stronger, unless it did the opposite.
But then it's like, maybe that person wasn't meant to be in your life then.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think that growing apart from people is a natural thing in life. And it doesn't have to be, you can just like love someone from afar. It doesn't have to be a dramatic thing. It's normal. It's a part of life. And no one's at fault. It's just like life is overwhelming and life gets in the way and people are growing and changing at different paces and their lives are going in different directions. So you don't have to feel guilty for that.
Call me Charlie Puth. Call me Charlie Puth. Call me Charlie Charlie. Call me Charlie Puth. Like call me Charlie Puth. I do not care if you Puth.
If you don't know what that is, go listen to our last episode.
Yep.
Actually, not the last episode.
Wait, really?
2 episodes ago.
Oh, wait, you're right.
Go listen to our quarter life crisis episode.
I guess that's all I have to say today.
Yeah, same. Thank you for listening. Follow us at Take It Home Pod on all the things, Instagram, TikTok. You can watch it on YouTube if you're not already. And yeah, just do all you can to support us. and leave us a 5-star review if you liked it.
Please.
And
my Venmo is at Noelle, Noelle dash Cornelius, Cornelius.
And mine is at Marissa, Marisa dash Nahas, Nahas.
Wait, we both have like the same Venmo.
Yeah. Sponsor the podcast. Just kidding.
I'm not.
Anyway, yeah, subscribe and you'll see our next episode on Thursday.
Ooh.
We love you guys. Goodbye.
Goodbye.